ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the M&K Productions Podcast. I'm your host, Summer Mac, joined here by my co-host with the most, Summer Kristen. I called you Summer Kristen because it's our summer episode. It's the summer blockbuster.
Summer Mac, Summer Kristen. This is like a special edition right there.
Yes, it is.
Exclusive, Funko Pop exclusive, Steelbook a special edition. Who?
Listen, we're more better than Funko Pops. We're the U2s, the one the YouTubers be having whenever like they have to give away.
Yes,
the U2s. Is it U2s or you?
I don't know. I should ask my sister. She has one. My sister is a Jacksepticeye fan, so she has one. So I don't know how it's properly pronounced. I know she's got like one or two things that are also something else from that brand. I should find out. I just call it like Funko Pop still because it does remind me of a Funko Pop still.
Oh, yeah.
So how are you doing?
I'm doing well. That last episode we had with director Brendan Devane talking about his film The Sound is up now. It was awesome. Once again, Kristen, you're a great interviewer.
I do my best.
I love it. But I'm excited. We're getting back in the swing of things. We're getting back to our regular scheduling programming with our podcast. We've been a little inconsistent, but we're busy. We're making moves behind the scenes.
We have lives. We're making moves behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And we've been busy because I was certainly busy because my sister got married.
Yes,
so I want to shout out to my sisters, to Matt and Danielle. Congratulations on the happy couple. And then you were also busy with making moves with your job. I know you've been working hard at work, Max, so there's no slowing down on your end. And also you've been busy with live streaming, going on other shows. So you've been busy too. So, we got lives, we're busy. So I'm happy you're doing well and I'm doing well. And now we can get back into our groove.
Yeah. So even before we talked to Brendan, we actually had a chance to talk to Evan Ari Kellman about his new film, Barron's Cove, which is out now. Great film. We spent good conversation with him just talking about his film, and that's up as well too. But before we get into the topic, because today's topic, we are going to be doing a double feature. We're going to be going over two films that came out within the last month of this recording. It is end of June right now, going in July, but we figured we're going to combine it into one. So first film we're going to be talking about is Thunderbolts asterisk, and yes, I will be saying that throughout the whole episode.
That's what you have to say now. Yes. That's how the film goes.
Thunderbolts asterisk. That's just that. And then we're going to be talking about a more recent release at the time of this recording, and that is the newest installment in the 28 franchise, 28 years later, and we have a lot to say about these two films. But Kristen, we're going to start off this episode. We're not going to do news. We're going to get to news the next episode when we get back to the groove of things. But what have we been watching? Like besides 28 years later and Thunderbolts asterisks, what are the films that we've seen?
I think do you want to kick off first or should I kick off first?
Screw it, I'll kick it off first.
Because I didn't see anything until after the second week in May, because I was so busy with my sister's wedding and everything else with life in general. So go off, King.
So I mentioned Barron's Cove. I gave that a watch. I watched Sinners in the beginning of May. Watched Final Destination Bloodlines, which is my second favorite film of May. And then more recently in June, besides 28 years later, I watched Bring Her Back, which is a film I didn't think I was going to see, but ended up seeing it and enjoyed it. And I saw Ballerina, which was fine.
Oh yeah, I saw a lot of those films too. So I have a lot. It was squeezing in stuff because I try to watch at least one film a day, at least something. All right, I have my notes. All right, besides Thunderbolts and 28 years later, I saw also Bring Her Back, a film I didn't think I was going to have the chance to see in theaters, but I managed to get some time in it and I saw it and I thought it was really, really good. Sally Hawkins, great performance. I saw Final Destination, the new one, Final Destination Bloodlines. Shout out to Tony Todd. I thought it was nice to see him. I thought it was good. Didn't love it, but it has the best opening sequence for a Final Destination film that I've seen in a very, very long time. It's very silly, very fun, but I don't have the nostalgia impact for Final Destination like you do. So I'm sure you loved it. I think it's probably going to end up in your top 10, Mac, because I know how much you loved the Final Destination movies and how that much they mean to you. So I saw that. I saw a movie called The Old Woman and the Knife. I saw a movie called The New Boy, which stars Cate Blanchett, and that was just okay. I saw a bunch of films from the Tribeca Film Festival. I got to do some coverage over on Film Fest Report, so shout out to Film Fest Report and the website Film Forward. I
Hell
am
yeah.
now connected with them, so I got to see some films over there. So I saw a documentary that I absolutely loved called Nobu, which is based on the restaurant Nobu. You know about that restaurant, Mac?
Yeah, it's
Nobu?
somewhere I will never afford to go.
No, no, I won't either. It looks so elegant to watch. The thing is, when I watch that documentary, I don't want to go for the food now. I actually want to go and sit down and have a conversation with Nobu because this man, unbelievable. This man has had the most insane career and really built a name for himself, and it was very fascinating. That film is actually going to be released, I think, in select theaters tomorrow, and then it's going to have a slow rollout for the summer, I believe. It's going to have a digital release. So, shout out to Nobu. I think it was my favorite documentary I saw from the festival. But I saw Rose Breyer Burns documentary. Breyer Byrne, the one who's married to Bobby Cannavale. How do you say her name?
I don't know.
Oh, I saw her movie called Toe, and it starts Simon Rex, Ariana DeBose, Demi Lovato. That was pretty good. I saw Dragonfly. That might be that one, and Lemonade Blessing might be my favorite films I saw for the festival. I saw out of Tribeca, I saw Materialist. Mwah, 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 Celine song. Mwah, mwah, excellent. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. The best romantic comedy. If you want to call it anti-romantic comedy, that's fine. But it was stellar. I love Chris Evans. It only took him 6 years to find the perfect movie for him to star in since Avengers Endgame, Infinity War. Oh my God, that man has had the worst career since Avengers. Say all you want about Robert Downey, not Robert, yeah, Robert Downey Jr. At least he won an Oscar. This man had struggled, and he finally got it right. He finally got it right. He got the right agent all of a sudden. He had to fire the one who put him in Ghost and Red One because I was like, this man is never going to find work again. But luckily enough, he did. And I loved the materials. Pedro Pascal, also great in that film. Dakota Johnson, she worked her way up and succeeded. Forget Madam Web. She's now perfect in The Materials. This is her best role. Love me The Materials, or Materials, excuse me. I watched Echo Valley, which is a mid Sydney Sweeney movie with Julianne Moore, which is
I'm
available
noticing
on
a trend
Apple.
with Sydney Sweeney now with her movies.
Speaking of Sydney Sweeney, did you see now she has a Baskin Robbins special going
No,
on now?
I did not.
Yeah, I just saw it like this afternoon while I was scrolling on, TikTok. This woman is everywhere now. So good for her, making moves with ice cream because I love ice cream. I'll have to go try her combination. I also saw Ballerina, really dug it. I think it's better than the John Wick sequel. Not sure if it's good as the first John Wick, but nowhere as good as chapters 3 and 4 because those two are cinema to me. So yeah. Oh, also I tried back. I want to acknowledge one other movie, On a String, that comes from a great comedian. Give me a second. Oh my God, I don't want to screw up her name because I thought this movie was so good. First name is Isabella.
Mhm.
Isabel Hagen. Thank you. Thank you. I'm saying thank you to myself. Isabel Hagen. She's a great comedian. She's also a violinist. This movie was so funny, so fresh. Loved it. Captured the spirit of New York. Really different. Thought it fit well for the Tribeca Film Festival. And I've seen a few other films like Dangerous Animals. Mac, you got to watch that with Jai Courtney. Oh my God, Mac. That movie is the horror movie for the year. It's popcorn, fresh, theater going experience. Love that. You should check that out. And also Drop. Gave that a rental with my sister, and we thought it was pretty good. Christopher Landon did a good job. And then, of course, this weekend, we got another big movie, F1. I got my tickets for that as we speak, and I'll be seeing that in a nice IMAX theater while we beat the heat. So
No, there's a lot of damn movies.
I've seen a lot. I've been busy. I've been making money moves. Like what is that? That's what Cardi B says, right?
I wouldn't know. I don't like Cardi B.
Don't either, but I know that She sings the, what is it, Money Move? Like she sings from time to time. I'm not a huge Cardi B fan, but whatever.
Yeah,
Making
but let's get
moves.
into the topic. I'm excited to get into these films. So let's go over the kind of go to chronological order. We'll go over the film. So we'll go over the first one that came out May, which was last month, and that's the latest MCU film, Thunderbolts Asterix.
Wait, us?
Being the hero, there is no higher calling.
Marvel Studios Thunderbolts, only in theaters May 2nd.
So Thunderbolt Asterisk, it will never stop being funny.
Or you can call it the New Avengers.
Hey, spoil it! Not joking. That's what a month.
We're
If you haven't seen
It's
if you
out.
haven't, I would
It's
say
still
yeah.
playing.
If you haven't seen this movie, yeah, then that's yeah. But it's directed.
If you're a true Marvel fan, if you haven't seen it, then you're stuck.
But it's directed by Jake Schreier, and it stars Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan, Wyatt Russell, Louis Pullman, Olga Kurylenko, Geraldine Viswanathan, Chris Bauer, Wendell Pierce, David Harbour, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus. And the plot follows a group of anti-heroes who are caught in a deadly trap and forced to work together on a dangerous mission. So after the disappointment that was Captain America Brave New World, which, did we talk about that? No, we did not, actually.
I think we briefly talked about it.
It wasn't good. Thunderbolts.
Putting it out there.
Thunderbolts, I really had no expectations for. I thought it was trying to be like another one of those, like that goofy, like ragtag movie. But as trailers kept coming, it didn't feel like a Marvel movie. It felt
like someone said in their stuff, it feels like an A24 film.
I think,
and I'm like, okay.
Sebastian Stan says it's like The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, I can definitely say that. Yeah.
But the movie came out, and it took me a while to see it, but I saw it and I generally enjoyed it. This was a fun movie that felt very returned back to basics, more of a character study about the people that, like, because the thing with Marvel, you care about the characters because you want to get engaged with it, and that's what it does with this film. You get to learn about every one of these characters that we had interaction with. Florence Pugh as Yelena, we got to see her a little bit in Hawkeye and Black Widow, of course, and this expands on it. We see a little bit of Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp because you haven't seen her in a minute.
Which I was like, oh wait, oh yeah, I was like saying to myself, she's in this. Yeah, I was like,
we get to see more of Bucky, who was teased in Winter Soldier, not Winter Soldier, Brave New World, and it was obvious that he was just filming his scenes that go back to Thunderbolts. We learn more about Red Guardian because we haven't seen him as Black Widow. But I think the one character that shines the most, like the two characters, the returning character shines the most is Wyatt Russell as John Walker as the new Captain America. Of course, he was introduced in the Falcon and Winter Soldier show.
He was our villain.
He was the villain, but he becomes like a very psychotic
He's the anti-hero.
We love it. And Louis Pullman as Bill, aka Sentry, another new entry to the series. Obviously, Bob. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Shout out to Bob.
Just Bob. So it's an interesting dynamic, and it's definitely a film where if you weren't expecting anything of it, it actually leaves you like, wow, I was genuinely surprised. This movie's actually really fun.
I think on its own, even if it's not a Marvel movie, it works because I was so invested. I loved all the characters. I really liked the way Jake directed this film. I thought he was an interesting choice to bring on as a director because I have seen his work. I just thought, after directing, Robot and Frank, he worked on Robot and Frank is very good. I've seen Beef. I love Beef, the TV series with
Steven Yeun.
Thank you. I was gonna on the tip of my tongue, and knowing that this was almost 10 years since he released Paper Towns, which was the Cara Delevingne movie, which was based on the John Green book, took some time. Reevaluated some stuff. He worked on a lot of TV, but he came out really, really strong with Thunderbolts, and I think this was a really great watch. I loved all the characters. The one character, though, who just completely cut in the end was the one, oh God, what's her face? She just died. Yes, why did we need her?
Listen,
first of all, it was just so
Taskmaster is a great comic book character, and that this is not Taskmaster at all. Because it was proven even in Black Widow that they don't know what they're doing, and that happened because like. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think that was originally the plan. They just kind of said, "Oh, we're gonna change it." Bye. But like when you watch the
let's
trailer,
just kill you, girl.
when you watch the trailer, you kind of realize like, oh, some people aren't making it out, and it was only Taskmaster. So, well, I will say it was very like it was a headshot that took her out, which was like I was like, oh shit, like okay, that's in a Marvel movie.
Yeah, that girl was gone, and my husband Dylan was like, "Who was she?" Well, like, and I said, "Oh yeah, don't worry. She was in Black Widow. Don't worry, we don't need to worry about her."
That's a shame because Taskmaster that could have been a good character of her trying to shake out of her programming from Black Widow because it did set up for that, and they just said, "Well, bye, here you go."
Yeah, they really did her dirty in that film. Like, I'm sure she got paid well enough, but knowing that you got cut, a Marvel character like that got cut, that hurts. That must really hurt. So I have sympathy for her. But everyone else though was really good. The only character I was really like kind of nervous about was Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
I can't take her seriously in this Marvel universe because every time I turn to my dad and watch this, I'm like, I just see Seinfeld. I was like, oh my gosh, she took a new career and managing anti-heroes and government black sites.
Yeah, she's taken on a different career move.
But it's just like she's not.
She's not terrible. She's fine.
I like Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I think she's a great actress. I just think like I get her character. She's supposed to be like this cunning, manipulative, like shady agent person. But I just feel like she's still out of place a little bit in these projects.
She is. Everyone else seems to be like casted properly and fits into their roles really great. It's just Julia who just I was like, okay, I forget sometimes that she is also actress. I just picture, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, okay, Seinfeld, okay, Veep, like all those comedic shows. It's like hard for me to like put her in this dramatic role. Like I know she has like comedic bits to her character, but I just, it's hard for me to take her seriously in like this form. Not saying she's like not a good actress. I just think that it's hard for me to not put her in that place in the MCU. But everyone else is really good. It was nice to see Wendell Pierce. My husband Dylan loved Red Guardian. He thought he was the star of the show.
Oh no, this I want to see more of David Harbour because I feel like his character wasn't utilized enough in Black Widow. Yeah, and seeing him in this movie, like getting that bigger role and being like the glue to get everyone together was really, really cool.
He was part of the glue. Yeah,
I want to see him again.
He had a great sequence with the limo. I thought that was so great with the action sequence that we get where the limo and with Bucky and everything. Oh my God, what a scene. That was awesome. That action sequence takes place right in the middle. And it was so perfect. Like every action sequence that we get, it escalates really nicely. But that limo action sequence that we get in the desert, perfect. It reminded like this reminds me of old Bucky when we first saw
in Winter Soldier.
Bucky. Yes. And it was fun. And I was like so thrilled by the entire sequence. And I thought it was so well constructed. And it gave not just a chance for Bucky to shine in that role sequence, but also Red Guardian. I just like the two of them together. I think everyone really stands out. But Florence Pugh does carry this film.
Oh, this is her movie.
Yeah, it is. And I think she is really going to be the face of this new Avengers because who could you say, like, who would you think is the face of the Avengers? Tony Stark or Captain America?
I'd probably say Tony Stark is the one that started it all, if you think about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, so like even this with like, I'll let you finish.
No, go ahead. No, go.
I did see something interesting with Florence Pugh because I did want to add to this. Do you think people like Florence Pugh more than Scarlett Johansson because we've gotten to know more about her in more like time? Like I know with Scarlett we knew her from Iron Man 2 all the way to Endgame, but with the way that they had her Florence Pugh's character, we've seen her in Black Widow, we saw her in Hawkeye, now we see her her in like her own standalone, so not like standalone movie, but team movie like this? Do you feel
Where
like we
she's
were
taking
able?
full leadership,
Yeah.
I guess.
Do you feel like we've got to know her a lot more better than we did with Scarlett Johansson?
To be fair, it was very late that we got the Black Widow movie. It was very late. It should have been released sooner, where we got to know that character more of Black Widow, even though she's fabulous, and I think she's still well, constructed well in the MCU. I think she's still a fantastic character. Um, I think fleshed out wise and put together for a cinematic experience, I think Florence really exceeds with this character where we get to really know her, if that makes sense.
No, I agree, because I think it's like she has definitely more emotional depth to this.
Yeah. Her character does have a more emotional depth, and we see that through what this movie wants to explore, and that is mental health, which is
Oh my
really
God,
great.
yeah.
Which is, I think, might be the strongest MCU film that actually explores this subject matter, because I'm trying to think and look back at the MCU films and knowing it explores that. We didn't have that in Deadpool and, Wolverine. That was more fun, where we didn't really take on the subject matters really that seriously, but it did explore it.
I'd probably say the closest we've gotten to something where, because this Thunderbolts Asterisk really does have some heavy themes of mental health, especially near the ending with everything with Bob's arc of the Void, which I feel like is definitely a big, like, once you see where it's going, you know what the message is. I think the only other Marvel film that maybe tackled something with this themes was maybe Guardians of the Galaxy 3, or the idea of loss and kind of like its grief with Rocket.
Yes.
Or I'll even add in Iron Man 3, how they incorporated how Tony had PTSD.
Yeah.
But to the extent of it, I think Thunderbolts has probably done the better deep dive of it and kind of used that as essential plot.
Yeah, I agree. But yes, going back to Guardians, but I think this is like a worthy material to come from Marvel. Like the last time I gave like an MCU an A was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Deadpool was very close to it. Deadpool and Wolverine was very close to it, but there was just some kind of other things that just didn't work with me, and Deadpool and Wolverine. Everything in Thunderbolts just felt like everything clicked, everything worked. The character explorations, the journey that we go on, this action movie as a whole, it just felt like old school Marvel. And they got it right finally, where it feels like an Avengers film. Because I feel like, what if these Avengers were still around? It makes me think how Hawkeye would interact. How would Black Widow would interact? I do think she would a great spot, knowing that would be Florence Pugh's character. Like, I just feel like it works with all these characters. Like, they got it right. And knowing they had mishaps with, Captain America, Brave New World, the Marvels. I think Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania was good, despite what everyone says.
That is one of the worst Marvel movies I've seen.
No.
Last 2 years.
No.
Yes.
Are you sure you want to put the Marvels in there, though?
At least the Marvels I like, because they had
Or you want to call it Captain Marvel?
Well, at least with the Marvels, it had Iman, Miss Marvel, because she was actually like the best part of that movie. But Ant-Man and the Wasp did not have anything I liked, so I think that was worse than Captain Marvel.
Oh, all right.
But no, I agree. Thunderbolts is definitely a fun return to form. I wouldn't say like we go through cycles with Marvel now, past Endgame. It's like, oh, the MCU's dead, and then it's back and better than ever, and then it's dead again. So right now we're in a cycle. It's back. It kind of did break the cycle a little bit because we had Daredevil come out on TV, so it's like it's back. And then with this came out, it's back. But Ironheart right now, it's Ironhearting
Not
right
doing
now.
well.
Yeah, so people are it's dead again. So we'll see what Fantastic Four does. Definitely.
I know you're excited for that, but I've been hearing some change ups with some things. We can talk about it once we do our Fantastic Four episode.
Well, that's what we call not knowing when to film your shit.
I know they're changing up some things with some characters, so I'm just like,
Listen,
how is this gonna play out?
Listen, I just want a damn fantastic. As long as a Fantastic Four movie is just good, I'm fine. Like they can like fucking give the thing
C-worthy material.
no, at least a B or
B-word.
something. Like god dang, like we should not be using. I love the 2005 movies. But we should not be using that as the damn standard for a Fantastic Four movie. This is why the best Fantastic Four material has been TV shows, and I will not hear anything else of it. But yeah, Thunderbolts is a good movie. Give it a watch.
Yeah, it was very good.
I will say the fun fact about this before we give our grades is that speaking of Fantastic Four, there is a hint of them in the Avengers Doomsday because the post-credit scene actually was filmed by the Russo brothers as they were filming Avengers, and they said, "Here you go, it's the Fantastic Four ship entering Earth's atmosphere." And you're like, "Oh shit, all right, bet." And it kind of confirms that how they're gonna do it with the Fantastic Four. So I guess I feel like that's a little spoilery for how the new Fantastic Four movie is going to go, unless we kind of know that they're not going to stick in that world forever because it's an alternate universe to the main MCU. But I don't know.
One thing, before we give out a grade, I want to talk about one thing about Bob, good old Lewis Pullman. I know there was conversations when he was getting ready to sign on for this role in the Thunderbolts. His character was going to be named Bob, of course, but it goes back to Top Gun Maverick, him as Lieutenant Robert Bob Floyd.
This man's just
and he didn't want to be named Bob again.
You know,
like, I think that he was a little, I think he was saying like that might confuse like fans. I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's not. You know, they're gonna say Bob from Top Gun Maverick. Okay, that's obviously different from Bob MCU. It's not that big of a deal. I don't know what he was thinking through that, but I was like, it's fine. It's a name. It's not that big. It's not that big of a deal. But I get it. I just thought it was really funny. I was like, it's not that deep, man. All right, is he ready to give a grade?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back on my letterbox and see what I gave Thunderbolts a month ago because I think I gave it a B plus. Possibly?
Oh, I gave it. Well, right now I think it's like because I'm going to release a top 10 of the year very soon so far. So I think on my letterbox, let me check on my phone.
I gave it an A minus.
That's about the same grade I gave it to.
Yeah,
I gave it like an A. It's really close. Like it's like in my top 10. I think it will be. It might be in my top 10. I mean, this year is going pretty strong with a lot of stuff I've been seeing. So I think it has a strong chance of being in my top 10, top 20. So
once I go through everything, because I don't know if this is going to be a top 10 for me. This might be like verge of 10
or honorable mention.
Because this year has been very strong as I go through my letterbox to see what I've seen and what I've actually liked. Because I've liked a lot of movies this year.
I liked a lot of movies too.
So we'll see, but I'll give it an A minus, and I think it's a good lead up into Fantastic Four and Doomsday because we are a year away from Doomsday.
Mm-hmm. Oh, speaking of which, I also going on that. We'll say an A minus. Hold up, before we jump into 28 years later, do you want one film I forgot to mention that I've seen that I think you need to see, Mac? The Life of Chuck. Oh my God.
Okay.
Oh my God, that also. Like, I was just like saying to myself, I feel like I forgot to mention a movie, and that was Life of Chuck. And I love that movie, and it's like in my top 5. So, whoops, forgot to honor that. But yeah, go watch Life of Chuck as well. And Thunderbolts asterisk.
Yeah, those two movies. But yeah, give Thunderbolts a watch. Pretty fun film. But let's talk about a film that came out recently this month, time of this recording. It's been 18 years since the last one of this franchise, and a lot has changed in the landscape, especially with the original distributor, Fox, no longer exists. They're dead. But we are back with 28 years later, directed by Danny Boyle and written by Alex Garland, and it takes place 28 years after the original 2 films, and it follows Alfie Williams, Jodie Comer, thank you, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and Ray Fiennes, and it follows their survival in the quarantine UK with the rage virus, with some interesting twists and turns. Now, when this trailer came out last year, or even early this year, it was the one was like boots, moving up and down again. There's no discharge and a war. Like that was like exactly what we wanted for 28 like years later style trailer. And when news kept coming out who they casted, and the fact that Boyle and Garland are back, and this is the start of a new trilogy, everyone's like, "Holy shit, we're back!" Like 28 days later, it's a classic. It redefined the zombie genre. 28 weeks later, well, for its flaws, it's still a solid sequel to the first film, but kind of getting that definitive third movie, even though people thought it was 28 months later, not years later, but to each his own. People were really excited. I was really excited. This is one of my most anticipated films of the year, because I was 7 when the last one came out, and it came out. Damn. And this is man, I know what movie next Superman's going to be very divisive next month, but so far 28 years later, it's like, don't worry, Superman, I'll block it for you, because my God, 28 years later is a damn divisive sequel, which is a shame.
There is so much discourse about this film. It's like we lost the plot of film criticism, I feel like, at this point. And it's so stupid.
7, 6, 11. Moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the wall.
Well, it's a shame too, because I actually like 28 Years Later. Now, I will say it's not a perfect film.
No, it's not.
I'm looking at my rating. I gave it an A-, which I will defend it, because I did say in my review that with 28 Years Later, I think that the first act is probably its strongest, with the build up and more just kind of giving that energetic, frenetic editing. Like, it felt like a 28 Days Later sequel, and it was 28 years later. But once the second act hit, that's when the problems arise. Like, I think that the second act of this film is its worst spot. I know people say that the ending is probably the worst as well too, but I can excuse the ending because I know they're setting up for the next 2 movies.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But I still think it was a solid film, and I saw, I think probably seeing it in IMAX the opening night was just an experience to see this, and it was just fun to kind of get back into this world. And I personally like this film. Is it like in the top 5 this year? Probably not, but it's still like a solid entry to the film. Like, I'd rather watch this one than 28 Weeks Later.
That's what I had a discussion with my friend when we went to go see it together. I agree. This is not as iconic as 28 Days Later.
No.
It's better than 28 Weeks Later, but it's right in the middle for me. I gave it a B, just letting you all know. I love the opening, and I love the first act. Like, the whole movie was screaming cinema to me. I was like, where are we going on this extreme ride with all these different zombies that have evolved since the first film? Aaron Taylor Johnson being this macho man father, and Alfie Williams just, going on this ride with his dad and being like, Dad, these zombies are crazy. I know, son, you have to kill them. And, not comprehending, death and all these things. It was wild, and I loved it. And I felt like this adrenaline rush and full of energy. And I felt like Danny Boyle went back to those great roots. And I was like, yes, creatively, this is his best film. Alex Garland, you are getting it right, my guy. And then and you're right, once we hit the second act where the guys return home, and spoiler alert, we should put this in the beginning of the episode.
No, let's not do spoilers, because it's way too soon.
All right, fair. The film hits that drastic change, of course, and the character makes a decision. I'm just like, why are we doing this? Why don't do this movie? Don't do this movie. And then I'm like, no.
Well, I guess it's not a spoiler, because
I get it.
It's not a spoiler. It's in the trailer. Alfie Williams, the kid, goes out on his own back to the mainland. That's part of the trailer.
He also takes someone else with him. That's all I'm going to say. He takes someone else with him. And I'm just like, oh God, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? And then we see that sequence, all the events happen. And then Ray Fiennes shows up. And just like how we talked about Julia Louis-Dreyfus not taking her seriously in, Thunderbolts, I could not take Ray Fiennes seriously in this movie. I just thought this.
Okay, listen.
He was so out of place for me. I just could not.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that part because I think that was the point of that. Because if you think about it, when they're explaining his character, he is a doctor, and
Yes, I get that.
He's doing, and I feel like Ray Fiennes is like he's such a great actor that whatever he does, he gives it his all. Like I think he was giving it his all, and I think that it's supposed to be wacky with his character because he's like the mad doctor with what he does. And even like with that, I can suspend that disbelief and be like, oh, he is like he does some weird stuff, but it's like they kind of justify it with the new world that they're in. And that's where I'm like, I can believe him as a doctor more than I can believe Julian Louis Dreyfus as a government agent.
I thought maybe the character is fine as we sit and talk about it. I just think maybe he was the wrong person casted. I think Ray Fiennes would be great in the 28 years universe. I just think that maybe this was the wrong character for him. And I get it. Ray Fiennes, fabulous actor. Fabulous. Like, great. I love the man too. I just was like, what are we doing here, Ray? I'm like, I just couldn't buy his character as this particular person. And just the stuff that he was doing. Maybe it just didn't fit him for me to see him as that, but it didn't work for me. And I felt like that part took me out of the film. But I'm going to give the film some credit for the ending. I thought it was fine. I really didn't have any issues with the ending that it chooses to have. I thought it was a little comedic. It sets up the next film, which we're gonna get.
Yeah, the Bone Temple.
Yes, which is gonna be directed by, going back to the MCU, the Marvel's Nina DaCosta.
Gross.
Yeah, I'm very worried about that and where that's gonna lead to. But I was fine with it. I thought it was just like, okay, they're gonna introduce it this way. It's fine. They helped, Alfie out and his situation, how it decides to conclude. It was fine for me. Like, I get it. Like, I understand what's going to happen with Aaron Taylor Johnson's character and how it's going to be introduced to this next chapter, and seeing people talk about it online that it's going to get really dark. And I could see how it's going to get really dark. And I'm very fascinated by that, what they're going to do with this said character that we see at the end. Like, I'm very fascinated where it's going to lead, and it's going to be pretty scary from what I believe. So yeah, because I have no problem with it. I
think the thing with this whole film, because I talked about it, shout out to Dom from Talking TV. He had me on the podcast this past Sunday. We talked about it.
Yeah, go watch the episode. Mac was actually really great on that episode. I actually went and watched it, so he did really good.
The thing with it is that one of his friends, oh my god, Yadeline, I believe her name is. I could be wrong. But she mentioned that this film does not it. The problem with 20 years later, I think a lot of people have, is that this is leading up to like more the next two films. Like, this isn't necessarily like a third movie into like the already first two films we have. This feels like more of like we're setting things up to tell the story in this new years later from the original movie, because it kind of retcons the second movie a little bit, but it does like expand. Like it in the ending of the second movie, they're like, oh, it's in Paris, but they retcon that to say no, it's not. It's just contained to just the UK. So but it leaves more to be desired at times, because it is something where it's like you're setting up for that next film. Like when we get introduced to Ray Fiennes' character, what he does for the Bone Temple, you're like, okay, so this is going to set up what is probably going to be the main centerpiece for the next movie. We're going to be following a lot with that.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just think that ending too, because the ending of who shows up, and if you look at real world connotations of who he's supposed to be, you're like, oh, okay, you're going to try to get a little bit what's the word for it? A little bit it will be dark. But
it's like I said, it's gonna start a lot of conversation, I think, for this particular character, and I think that's a good thing for this said character that we're gonna talk about. It looks at a certain piece in history of said person. You can do your research for it. We're not gonna talk about it on here, but it's gonna be really dark, and I'm very fascinated to see where it's gonna go. I'm very fascinated.
I just think that what I'm scared about this new trilogy is, I said this on the Talking TV podcast. I'm getting vibes of The Force Awakens, where you have the first film directed by the people who have the vision for the trilogy, but then the people are busy because Danny Boyle is doing something else and Alex Garland is doing another movie. Then you bring in new writer, new director to do your second film, and the second film could be good or it could be bad. And if it's bad, then the third movie you're gonna have to course correct and try to fix everything that happened in second. So it's like I'm scared to see we might go down that route because if the Bone Temple is coming out 28 weeks later after this movie, which is pretty funny.
It's coming out very soon, and
It's coming out January of 2026.
It's coming out, yes, of January 26th. It's written by Alex Garland, just directed by Nita DaCosta, like I mentioned. It's going to star Aaron Taylor Johnson, Cillian Murphy, who's going to return, Ray Fiennes, Alfie Williams, and some other faces. But you're right. And I love the point you bring that up, saying that this could end up like an not MCU, excuse me. Star Wars situation. I'm still on my brain of MCU, that's why. So excuse me. But yeah, this could be like a Star Wars situation where they're going to have to course correct and the ending could lead to something really bad. I think what they should have done was, they shot 28 years later and then 28 years later, Bone Temple back to back, which was a good idea. And I think what they should do is not just wait to see on the reception of it. I mean, I'm going to give The Strangers some credit here. At least they film their stuff back to back to back, so they're set. And then if they need to, they can go back, and if they need to make some changes, do the changes. But they should have filmed the third film for this immediately after they did 28 years later, The Bone Temple. So they're set and knowing how they're going to put this film all together. So it's a lot, but I'm fascinated to see where all this is going to go. So we'll see how 28 years later The Bone Temple turns out. I'm just not thrilled that Nita DaCosta is filming it because I wasn't really a fan of Candyman. Forget the Marvels. I'm just really concerned, like, why they picked her. Like, what was the reasoning for that? Not saying that she's a good director. I just thought, why her? I feel like this is too big of a franchise for her to direct. And knowing that this is a sequel, it's a lot in her hands. I'm very concerned about it. So what do you think of Nita DaCosta directing the sequel?
Well, we needed someone cheap to do this, and everyone else is busy and expensive. We kind of need someone just a little cheap, low-key. But it's fine. Like I didn't like Candyman. There were some good aspects to it, but I feel like that's more of Jordan Peele producing it, and the Marvels was a disaster.
Yes.
I'm kind of getting vibes of Chloe Zhao from Eternals, where you have like this, because I've seen her independent stuff, like some of her smaller stuff is okay. So it's the problem is like you take these independent directors and unless they have like a good vision that can translate to a bigger budget, it's not going to work out that way. Like you can't take like a Taika Waititi. You can give him a small budget, he can make a good film, or even a big budget, with minus the Thor Love and Thunder, he can still make a good film with a bigger budget. But we've seen that with Nia DaCosta. We saw her in a small scale Candyman, which is all right, and then with the Marvels was a disaster. So it's like, I know with Marvels, you can live in reshoots, rewrites, everything like that. But you're going into this film and you kind of do have a weight on your shoulder because if this film bombs, you're gonna have people going after you, saying it's your fault, it's your direction, that this is not going to get a third movie. And I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. It's just it coming out in January. I know it's the whole thing. It's like 28 weeks later, but it scares me because January is like that dead month. So they may be thinking on people like, oh, this is actually a good January movie. Let's go see it. So I don't know. It'll be intriguing to see, but I think with 28 years later, this film, I think it's fine for just setting up this new universe. And it's both fan service for the fans of the original films and a good introduction for people who may not have seen the original films. Like it does a good job of setting you up into this world. Like it doesn't make you feel bad or anything.
Yeah, I'm actually going to show them to the 28 years and later when it comes out on digital, and I'm going to show Dylan the 28 Days Later films and 28 Weeks Later because I think they're good. But I brought this up in my review. What do you think is scarier, the zombies and
It's not
Last
called
of Us?
It's not called zombies. They're called
Oh my,
infected. You
well,
pleb.
infected. Oh
Don't
my
you know that
God.
zombies or this or that is just infected?
Oh my gosh.
Okay, but you're gonna ask if the
All
Last of
right,
Us,
which is worse, the
Last of Us.
infected and the Last of Us, or the zombies in 28 years later? Because those things in
28
28
years
years
later,
later have freaking evolved.
because
Like
in 28
from
years, oh, go ahead.
the alpha and the slow lows. Dylan's like, what are the slow lows? I was like, you'll see it when you
I,
see the movie. You'll know what I mean.
that's something where I can defend our decision going 2 decades later, is because if we did 28 months later, it's 2 years. So it's like you
Yeah,
can't really show the evolution of like the infected. But I think showing it almost like 3 decades later, showing how they can evolve with their body, I
yeah.
think that was interesting. But I gotta say 28 years later, because listen, Last of Us, they're literally able to live. Just don't get the spores in you. Like you're fine or get
Yeah,
scratched.
the
I think
spores. But freaking Rat King in Last of Us. Oh my God.
that's not bad. I feel like Last of Us, you can easily survive
The
that.
Rat King, I think, in Last of Us is the scariest zombie or infected, excuse me. But the zombies look so realistic in 28 years later that it's actually freaking scary, especially I don't care. Meme all you want with the alphas, but my God, those stupid alphas are a whole nother level. Especially the slow lows. Those bloater, like they look like bloaters. Like they got some stuff going on in them. Like those things are ugly.
They
Like
do look
my
like they're about to
God.
explode with like some
They
infection.
do. Like they look like they have so much pus or water built up inside of them. It's like your face looks so swollen. It looks awful. And I would hate to be that type of like zombie. It looks awful. And I'm saying to myself, what are these things? And one of them looked like those old fashioned dolls, like like those like porcelain dolls that you see, like the little baby that shows up that
Hmm.
the kid that Alfie sees. I'm like, oh my God, like what are you doing? I was freaking out in my seat. But I thought that was really good. I think they did a good job with the zombies in Last of Us. Season 2 of Last of Us, just oh, Mac, Last of Us season 2. At least this was better if we're talking
I tried
zombies.
to warn you.
I know, I was warned. I played the second game of The Last of Us season of The Last of Us, and then I knew about Pedro, y'all. If you go in the comments, be like, oh, you weren't ready for Pedro? Y'all, I knew what was gonna happen. I knew about the fan service of this game for a long time and knew what they were gonna do. And I was like, they're gonna do this in this episode. It's coming. It's coming early, y'all. And you know what? Everyone's like, what? What? Huh? Yeah, 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 they were gonna do it. Neil Druckmann is out of his mind. And he is not the best developer on earth. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but 28 years later, it is
That was my little rant.
it's a cool film. If you're a fan of apocalypse infecting movies, or even a fan of the first two films, I still say give it a watch to kind of see where this franchise is going. If you've never seen 28 years later, 28 days later, 28 weeks later, give it a watch too. I still say give it a watch because this is still a good summer type film to kind of get you into that mood.
Horror
Or
film.
yeah, or even watch it during Halloween. Watch it, do a little marathon, and get ready for the Bone Temple. But I give it A-. I'm gonna stick to that grade. I'm gonna give 28 weeks late, years later, an A-.
I gave it a B, so I'm going to stick with that grade. We'll see how Bone Temple turns out when we talk about it, because I'm sure we're going to talk about it in January of next year.
Yes. But that's gonna wrap up this episode. Like I said, this nice quick return to form. We're talking about Thunderbolts asterisk 28 years later. But we got more in store. Don't worry, we are back. The next episode, we're gonna be joined by some guests of ours. We're finally going to be doing our David Lynch tribute episode, The Man, the Myth, the Legend. We're gonna be going over Blue Velvet, and also maybe talking about some of our other projects that we like from him. Because shout out to Twin Peaks, love Twin Peaks. And we'll be also going to be hopefully covering the new Superman film. And you want to talk about discourse, Kristen? Can't wait for Twitter when Superman comes out. Oh boy!
They just started the screenings for it. The major screenings have started. I won't be seeing it on Amazon Prime Day, that special that they're doing. I did not get my ticket for that like I was hoping, because people are crazy and they got the tickets just the same time I was, and I wasn't able to get my ticket.
Those kooky kids, damn you.
Yeah, those kooky kids were able to get it. So I'll be seeing it, I'm sure, opening night, like y'all.
And then to wrap up the month, to get ready for the new Fantastic Four movie, we're gonna go back in time to the last Fantastic Four movie we got, and that's
10 years ago.
Good God, that was 15. We're gonna talk about Fan Four Stick, aka Josh Trank. It could be just the two of us, but maybe we'll find someone else to talk about it, share our pain, and just ask what the fuck happened to Josh Trank. And then we'll be going over the new Fantastic Four as well too.
Plus some other surprises that I got stored for us.
Yes, there could be some more bonus content coming, so stay tuned. But make sure to support us on Patreon. It's $2 a month, 7 days for free when you start out. You can join us, get early access to content, big news announcements. I'm actually going to be posting a news announcement regarding potential screening later in the year we might get, which is pretty exciting. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at the M&K Productions Podcast, and follow our Tech Talk as well too. We're on the talk, and make sure you like and subscribe to the video. Come on, what are you doing? Just give us, if you subscribe,
what are you doing?
Yeah, give us a cookie. Give us a cookie. I'll give you a cookie if you subscribe. But until next time, I've been Mac. This has been Kristen, and you've been listening to another episode of the M&K Productions Podcast. Peace.
Bye. Happy summer.
Happy summer.